Shalom. Shalom, my brothers and sisters. Shalom and welcome. This is Man's Final Steps. It is a continuing series to those who will be among the ranks of the 144,000 in multitude mentioned in Revelation 7th and 14th chapters. Today is February 3rd, 2014. My name is Symmanayah, and in this segment of Man's Final Steps, it is entitled Structured Unity, Questions and Answers. My brothers and sisters, many of us have heard words echoing the desire to see Yahusha united, the desire to see brothers and sisters who seek to worship and obey the Almighty Father Yahuwah and accept Yahusha come together as one. Many of us yearn to see these days come, these times come to be. I submit to you, there is no doubt in these end times that there will be an emergence of 144,000, of which 12,000 of each of the tribes of true Yahusha, commonly known as Israel, true Israel. 12,000 from each tribe, equaling 144,000, and a multitude from every nation, kindred, and tongue will be represented as described in scriptures, those who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father Yahuwah. The uncertainty among us is the identity of these individuals and how they will come to be gathered, as well as from what specific countries and lands. Yes, we know scripture tells us from the four corners of the earth, but many of us have not come to grips with realizing that gathering could be started. In other words, we could be in the process of being refined to such time as we are so ordered to come together. Many fail to realize, as those who will be among the ranks of these that I just described, there will be structured unity. Yes, there will be unity. If you are one who hunger and thirst after righteousness, you should not be a stranger to endless questions. You should be one who earnestly takes a position to seek out righteousness. So many times we become impatient. Instead of saying, let's pick up where we left off in our discussion, we want to conclude with a matter of inquiry. We want to conclude with the things we believe we need answers to right away, unknowing that it is the Spirit of Yahusha that makes alive. It is the Almighty Father who would make His words alive and perform successfully. We cannot force them to become alive and fit our agenda. They will come alive as He see fit, when He see fit, to perform the task that He has assigned. Questions and answers are close to those who desire to worship and obey the Almighty Father Yahuwah through a set-apart spirit sent in Yahusha's name. Yes, we will become accustomed to asking questions and expecting answers, and waiting patiently for answers, and having a ready mind to identify answers, righteous answers, when they come before us. And a spirit to understand that in our worship and obedience, the Almighty Father does not have to answer every question that we pose to Him. It will be wise to come to grips that it is through questions that expectations are fueled. It is through questions we adjust our attention to wait for answers. Structured unity will come in the midst of end-time prophecies being fulfilled. Yes, my brothers and sisters, structured unity will come as we become refined and perfected in the image described in scriptures. Allow me to list some challenges that we will face. They will come with proof regarding the teachings and practicing on these subjects. Yes, my brothers and sisters, many of us fail to understand the relationship between Yahuwah, the Almighty Father, and Yahusha as Mashiach. Many of us fail to understand how they are indeed one, how Yahusha is Yahuwah's word manifest in the flesh. Some are hung up on they can't be one because Yahusha died. I submit to you, His earthen vessel ceased, but His spirit never stopped functioning. Examine the scriptures and you will know that each and every one of us, even when our earthen bodies ceased to function, our spirit lay wait until the return of Yahusha. So let us come to grips with the function, the structure of these earthen vessels, these tabernacles. Let us come to understand the relationship between Yahuwah and Yahusha and their indwelling of us and our oneness with them, those who seek to worship and obey the Almighty Father. Discovering the living voice of the Spirit of Yahusha directly or through his chosen. This will be another challenging task for many, and it is a challenging task. Will we make mistakes along the way? Indeed we will. But it's through the power, the atoning power of Yahusha's blood, and through his resurrection and his living set-apart spirit that we rise up and press forward. Yes, it will be a challenge in finding and discovering structured unity because the correct times to honor and guard Shabbat differ among many believers. This too will come to an end among the children of obedience. We will come to know when is the correct time. As for me and my house, we acknowledge and guard and honor the Shabbat from morning to morning. Another challenge, understanding what true Torah means and coming to identify living laws from the voice of the Spirit of the Almighty One. So many people have sensationalized the word Torah to think it means that it began and stopped with Moshe. I submit to you all commands and orders of instruction are living laws from the Most High. It goes beyond just what you or many have been taught to think that it's just within the written laws given to Moshe. Another challenge would be understanding the purpose of the Moedim, the appointed times, from new moons, which are really, indeed, the full moons, and the 7 feast times, of which many look at these times as just a time of gathering and eating, failure to understand their purpose. This too will come into clarity as we face structured unity. Coming into awareness of how right rulings and judgments are executed. Coming to expect that there will be living reproof guidance. There will be right rulings. There will be judgment executed as the Spirit of Yahusha speaks directly to us, through us, one towards another, or through one of his chosen vessels or leaders. Realizing there will be a transition from our current positions. There will be a transition from the way we currently see groups structured today. And we will transition into a more refined group that will give us a glimpse of how the reign of Yahusha will come to be. Another daunting and challenging task would be adjusting to who true Yasharal, commonly referred to as Israel, represent, and the importance of those who will represent the 12 tribes of Yasharal of Hebrew or Arabri descent. Coming to grips with the multitude made up of all nations, kindreds, and tongues who desire to do the will of the Almighty Father Yahuwah and accept Yahusha as Mashiach. Coming to grips with that multitude and understanding their role in these end times will be a challenge for many. Adjusting and adapting to correct teachings, practices, and behaviors with new arrivals, and as well as those who are among us who have been freed and discovered the true names since the dawn of ages, or for many years. We will be challenged. There will be those that say, I knew the true name for many years, and there will be those who just will come into the new name, but have experienced righteous refinement. That whole challenge of being merged together in a structured and united way will come to be by the discipline, by the orders, by the commands, by the proof of the Spirit of Yahusha and through his chosen leaders. We will come to learn what's acceptable to eat, the role of fasting and how we should dress. We will learn how to ask many questions and patiently pursue answers as given by the Spirit of Yahusha in his time during his seasons. Yes, we will grow to know all of what must be done. These and many other important factors will arise regarding structured unity among those who will come to fulfill scriptures regarding the 144,000 in multitude. Due to the sensitivity of time, when intense conditions arrive, we will witness little tolerance for blatant disregard to those who the Spirit of Yahusha has ordered to lead. Yes, it would appear as though they are impatient, but there will be a sense of urgency that will arise in the midst of chaos, turmoil, civil unrest, in the midst of famine, drought, and pestilence, in the midst of forced transition. We will see leaders, elders chosen of the Spirit of Yahusha, who will appear intolerant. Some will even falsely accuse them of being arrogant or strong-willed because of their obedience to the Spirit of Yahusha. Remember, we serve an Almighty One, a Father Yahuwah, who sent his set-apart Spirit in Yahusha's name. Remember, Yahusha is master, and the righteous reign is his. He, as ordered by the Almighty Father Yahuwah, has established his reign, his people, his children, his chosen. This is not the characteristics of somebody that is passive, nor will his orders and commands be passive, nor will they cause us to be wavering. He does not allow and will not tolerate, as we are gathered, compromising teachings, practices, and beliefs. It is about being set apart in the righteousness of the Spirit of Yahusha. It is about pure worship and obedience, lifting up Yahusha our Mashiach with our eyes focused on him, listening to his teachings, paying attention to what is brought to our remembrance whatsoever he has told us, watching him and him alone. And in our obedience, in our worship, we lift him up. And lifting up, it is he who will draw all men to himself. He working in us, through us, one towards another. My brothers and sisters, patience will emerge, and we will discover, in order to experience the fullness of righteous instructions, teachings, and in order to discover how to properly acknowledge and guard the true living Torah, as well as the Almighty Yahuwah set apart days, there will be questions and answers among us. As questions and answers fuel expectation, it will also breed patience. We will discover living instructions, guidance, reproof, discipline, proof, and right rulings, resulting in structured unity. Beware, there are those who will take the following scriptures as a license to think compromising spirits and teachings are welcome and will be among the gathered. This is an erroneous and wicked position. Again, beware. It is strongly recommended that you pray and earnestly seek righteous guidance on how fast you should come away from such evil teachings. Remember, no house divided against itself can stand. Allow me to share the scriptures that I am referencing, that many will take, thinking it is okay to be among compromising teachings and practices. Matthew 13, verses 27 through 30. They read as follows. And the servants of the master's house came and said, Master, did you not sow good seed in your field? For where then does it have the darnel, or tares, as some people might know it? And he said to him, an enemy did this. And the servant said to him, Do you wish that we go and gather them up? But he said, No, lest while you gather up the darnel, or tares, you also uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until harvest, and at the time of harvest I should say to the reapers, First gather the darnel, or the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my granary. You see, my brothers and sisters, the scriptures say no house divided against itself can stand. So when it talks about letting the wheat and the darnel, or the wheat and the tares, grow together, this is referencing those who mimic with outward precision the likeness of righteousness, but in their hearts they are ravenous wolves. These are those who outwardly it is most difficult to tell where their heart is. Only the Spirit of the Most High knows. Only the Spirit of Yahusha knows, and he will bring that to pass in due season. This does not give license to say, let's just hang out among compromising teachings, practices, and so forth, and he'll take care of it when he comes. This is not what that is saying. Let us be mindful of such. Let us continue. Let me read Matthew 25, verses 32 to 34. And it reads as follows. And all nations shall be gathered before him, and he shall separate them from one another as a shepherd separates his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on his left. Then the sovereign shall say to those on his right, Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the reign prepared for you from the foundation of the world. Again, I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, there are those who mimic outwardly the actions of righteous and obedient servants, but in their hearts they are ravenous wolves. These are the goats and these are the goats that will be separated from the sheep upon judgment day. So let us be mindful. This does not give us a license, again, to be among compromising spirits. Matthew 7:1 and 7:2 is something else that is widely grabbed. People grab this and think that it means that the Spirit of Yahusha is void of working in us and through us. It reads as follows. It says, Do not judge, lest you be judged. For what judgment you judge, you shall be judged, and with the same measure you use, it shall be measured to you. Again, this scripture is referring that we don't have a license to go around judging people. But let us also be mindful that the Spirit of Yahusha dwells within us, and he has the freedom to use us and speak to us and through us as he sees fit. So it is the Spirit of Yahusha that we should be mindful of and prayerful of, for we are indeed instructed to pray without ceasing. And there will be times and times again where the Spirit of Yahusha will speak through us to execute right rulings and judgment. We just do not have that license to take it upon ourselves to do such travesty. It would be a travesty if we're doing it. But of course it's not a travesty when the Spirit of Yahusha is indeed guiding us and so ordering. Luke 6:37 reads, And do not judge, and you shall not be judged at all. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned at all. Forgive, and you shall be forgiven. John 3:17 say, For Elohim did not send his Son into the world to judge the world, but that the world through him might be saved. And Romans 2:1 says, Therefore, O man, you are without excuse, everyone who judges, for in which you judge another, you condemn yourself, since you who judge practice the same wrongs. Notice it says, since you who judge practice the same wrongs. So this is talking about someone who is not being guided by the Spirit of the Most High to judge. They're judging on their own academic prowess or their own religious beliefs and translations, or for whatever reason, they're judging. And if they're practicing the same wrongs, the two cannot be happening at the same time. So, again, let us be mindful that the Spirit of Yahusha dwells within us. Almighty Father dwells within us, and he can and will execute right rulings and judgments through us. But again, we do not have the license to take it and run with and do what we want to do. We must pray without ceasing and be mindful of his orders. Let us look at John 7:24. It says, Do not judge according to appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. See, righteous judgment is through the living Spirit of Yahusha. John 8:16 says, But even if I do judge, my judgment is true, because I am not alone in it, but I and my Father who sent me. 1 Corinthians 6:2-3 reads, Do you not know that the set apart one shall judge the world? And if the world is judged by you, are you unworthy to judge the smallest matters? Do you not know that we shall judge messengers? How much more matters of this life? Hebrews 4:12 says, For the word of Elohim is living and working. See, people miss that. It's living and it's working. It's working in us, my brothers and sisters, one towards another and through his leaders, his chosen leaders towards us. And it says, And sharper than any two-edged sword, cutting through even to the dividing of being and spirit and joints and marrow, and able to judge the thoughts and intentions of the heart. You see, my brothers and sisters, so many of us think that we're private, we're protecting things, or nobody know me, and you haven't been in my shoes, and you can't relate to what I'm going through. And we want to believe all these false hedges, guards, or walls of privacy, not knowing that the living word working in us through discernment, we are able to see, understand, intercede in prayer, and respond as the Spirit of the Almighty so orders. So many people fail to realize the true relationship we have with the living Messiah, Yahusha. 1 Corinthians 2:15 says, "But he who is spiritual discern indeed all matters, but he himself is discerned by no one." This is saying basically, my brothers and sisters, we who are spiritual, we are able to discern by the Spirit of Yahusha revealing to us. Anyone outside of the Spirit of Yahusha is unable to discern what is going on. But just as much as we're able to discern, I'm able to discern, you're able to discern. But no one is the flesh. The flesh cannot discern the spiritual matters. Pray and seek understanding on these scriptures. For so many brothers and sisters have grabbed scriptures to use as an excuse to be among compromising teachings, practices, and behaviors. My brothers and sisters, we are not given a license to run around judging one another. We were never instructed to take something from the Most High Father and run with it. All too often I have witnessed individuals saying, "Give it to me and I'll take it from there," or something akin to such words. This is wicked and evil. We are instructed to pray without ceasing. We are to depend and focus on the guidance, the living guidance of the Spirit of Yahusha. We are instructed to worship and obey, for in doing so the Almighty Father Yahuwah, through his set-apart Spirit, will use us to render right rulings and judgment as he sees fit and when he sees fit. It will be wise to come to grips with our relationship with a living Savior and know he will at times show himself in us, through us, to execute judgment. For those who kick against the pricks, for those who kick against righteous judgment, for those who know when they are called out, when they have fallen, it will be wise to yield expeditiously, quickly, to righteous reproof, opposed to lying, trying to defend because you're shocked that someone has discerned something that you thought was hidden or private. I have witnessed individuals jump out and lie and defend because they just surprised that someone was able to discern what is true about them. And they don't realize that they start lying. They start giving in to wickedness even further. I strongly encourage, if we are indeed called out, if we have fallen or our flesh rears its ugly head, let us be expeditious in repenting and turning from such wickedness. Let us have a ready mind when righteousness is before us to accept it, acknowledge it, and press forward towards an improved worship and obedience with the Almighty. There are so many who face reproof and discipline only to kick against righteous instructions by hiding under the letter, thinking no one can judge their behavior. Many are as walking contradictions to the very beliefs they share with others, oftentimes unaware. There is no excuse for wickedness and evil. When we fall, let us get up in the atoning power of Yahusha's blood and his set-apart Spirit and press forward towards improved worship and obedience. Structured unity is coming, my brothers and sisters. Structured unity is coming, and many will be weakened physically, mentally, and spiritually in order to humble them, in order to humble us, to bring about correction, the reproof necessary for refinement as guided by the Spirit of Yahusha, directly in or through one of his chosen leaders, one of his messengers. My brothers and sisters, this is not the first time I've addressed these matters. I thank you. I salute you for your patience and endurance in listening to each of these messages. Remember, warning signs and or devices repeat often until they are no longer necessary. So it is with these messages that I present to you a warning, a message. I pray that the Almighty Father make these words alive if they indeed reflect what he desires to reach your ears. There will be structured unity, and we will witness a rise in questions and answers. We will see what true, righteous reasoning resembles. We will come to know what iron sharpening iron is representative of. And we will discover much proof from above. It will not be because of questions and answers that we face heartache. The heartache will come, the grief will come, oftentimes when we kick against the prick and it requires proof. Yes, the regret may come because we cannot choose how the Almighty Father will bring his proof. It can be subtle, it can be severe. It can be such that it could take us to our grave. You see, it's a terrible thing to tempt the Almighty Father Yahuwah. We cannot and do not control how he will execute his proof, in or his discipline, or even wrath. Let us come to discern quickly what is expected and respond with precision, as this refining process will produce structured unity among us, among the children of obedience, while we walk in the midst of questions and answers as we press towards our calling. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, my family, I pray we come to realize a sense of urgency is at hand as we are refined into the image foretold in scriptures. I pray that we're able to increase in discernment and understanding and act or be still whichever we are directed, that we have a ready mind, body, and soul to respond to the living guidance of the Spirit of Yahusha, whether it's directly or through his chosen leaders. Until next time, my family, stay tuned as this series, Man's Final Steps, continues. Shalom, shalom, shalom.